Patrick Carlin, what did we learn in class today?
Oh, what a day. What a day. Joe brought in the heavy armor and armament, man. And I got to tell you, you guys started talking about the Wild West. And I love vibes. I live my life by vibes. So I went over to my library and I chose Gunfighters, Highwaymen, and Vigilantes. This is written by a dude named Roger McGrath. He was a professor out at UCLA. You sometimes see him on A&E. And I didn't know what I was going to find. I'll flip through this because you're talking about violence in the Wild West. So the first thing I get is a little trip in here, and it says, we pack 6 shooters and derringers for fear of knaves. And this was an Aurora Minor in 1863. Then I go back and I flip to another page. I just open it randomly, and it tells about during the knife was obviously effectiveness. The gun remained the weapon for settling personal disputes resulting from affronts, insults, challenges, feuds, or gang loyalty. Lee Vining may have been the first Auroran shot to death in a personal dispute. Vining, a scion of Indiana Quaker family, erected the sawmill. Long story, he got himself killed.
We got Quakers with guns. What could be better
Well,
than
there
that?
you go, man, if you want to hang out in Aurora. And then I look, and the tombstone on the cover of this book by Roger McGrath, which is on Amazon. I'm plugging this thing because it's a history thing. The guy's a history dude. Is a guy, native of Tennessee, age 33, assassinated Aurora. So there it is, man. It might be something in the water, as Ron said. But basically, those were wild times. We are wild people. All the debris from Europe got washed up ashore. And the scruffiest of that debris made its way west. And if you weren't a hard dude, you didn't hang around very long. And if you were a hard dude, you met a harder dude. So it was definite violence thing. It's this kind of country. I mean, you can ask the Native Americans what they say. It's the treating of broken treaties and the Gatling gun, how the West was won. I mean, it wasn't, oh, hi, come on, let's have a state here. Why don't we make this Nebraska? It wasn't that way. So this has been stimulating for me this morning on history. And then you got to the trip of the dude, the Penn State guy. Very simple. Get him in, get him through trial, and immediately put him in the general population at Attica or Folsom or Soledad or somewhere, and let nature take its course.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, just let's be realists about this. And check these guys out when they're young and get rid of them. There are certain things that certain people should be eradicated. I'm not saying a death penalty, but they should just be made to disappear in whatever manner you can come up with. And you do that with them. And I also got here that Texas congressman, you know, Guns for All. There's a book all about Guns for All. I recommend it highly. And you had the Sandusky cover-up. Oh, and Sam Greenfield, he always stimulates me, and he stimulates Joe. And that puts the electricity out here. But I do always have things I agree with him on. The number one thing with Obama is race. I know people from where I grew up and this and that. A lot of them wear suits and shirts and ties, but they still use inappropriate words, and they have bad feelings toward people that aren't the same as themselves, and then they keep their secret when they go in and vote. So they have to be just taken into hit. You got to really get these. Oh, and Nader on the money. Ego-Rama, man. I want to puke every time I think of that show. That was a heavy scene. I mean, and that's just ego ruling out any kind of reason. And I didn't like him anyway for the car thing. We were selling them nice big sleds. And they were a lot of fun.
I know. No, what's more fun than a car that blows up when it's hit?
Ah, well, what are you going to do?
You got to have some fireworks.
Have some action in your drive.
Our favorite street philosopher, Patrick Carlin, and now, not next week, but in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
Mr. Rayola is off to Alaska to
I
do
know.
stand-up. How about that? So he's going to be doing comedy in Alaska. And so Patrick Carlin's going to be our co-host on August 5th.
All right.
And you don't have to leave your guns at the door for that show.
That's fair warning. And let me give you one thing, a true bumper sticker that I saw, man, in Reseda, California. And I was driving along and I saw this pickup truck, and it was one with primer on it and the full trip, you know. And on the back it said, we're just rednecks. We'll keep our guns. And I drove past them and I gave him a big thumbs up, baby.
Shoot 'em up! Hey, listen, if you keep your dial tuned to 100.1, you get Ron Van Wormer all afternoon playing you great music and keeping you company. Enjoy your week, everybody.